Thank you, Robert. Even some of the mighty men of rugby league have wilted in the face of two such intense games in 3 days. But both clubs have mighty squads these days. Stuart Evans, Paul Forber and Roy Haggerty all returned from injury for St Helens, beginning their bids for Wembley places. 9 of the semi-final squad are on duty again, but Central Park man of the match Jonathan Griffiths is one of the absentees. Jonathan Davies, captain today, was looking forward to taking on his old Llanelli teammate, wearing the number 6 shirt that many Widnes fans would like to have seen him fill on Saturday. There are 3 teenagers in the injury-hit Chemics lineup: Steve Wynn at fullback, and 2 young Cumbrians in the pack, debutant Paul Davidson and 17-year-old Steve McCurry. It's a measure of their problems that Kurt Sorensen is playing despite a broken hand. I wonder how he got that. It's quite a breezy day in St Helens, a little bit of fine rain falling. The League and Cup double dream has gone, but Widnes have woken up to find their League and Premiership double on again. 2 years ago, when St Helens turfed them out of the Challenge Cup in a Central Park semi, the Widnes reply was to win the League, the Premiership and the European Championship in the remaining 2 months of the season. And they're fired up to do something similar again. Joe Grimmer, who started on the bench on Saturday, Andy Currier, Mosi Koloto wide. But that Saints defence was an absolute revelation in the semi-final. 46 tackles from Bernard Dwyer, 37 from Shane Cooper, 35 from John Harrison. They were rock solid. Here's young Steve McCurry, playing in place of the injured Les Holiday at 13 today. 5th tackle. Davis. Little kick gobbled up by Mark Bailey. And here's big Stuart Evans, all 19 stone of him, back in action after injury. Touch judges in. David Hume getting a talking to. Use of the elbow. Here the second man in, number 7. Evans winning the penalty. Saturday was the first time in over a year that Widnes have failed to cross their opponent's line. In fact, since last season's Challenge Cup exit against Oldham. It really was quite an achievement by a much maligned Saints defence to keep out a side that had scored at least 1 try in their previous 45 games. Jonathan Neal, who had such an impact in the early stages on Saturday. Paul Groves, who came on as a substitute. Paul Forber back after injury today. Cooper. Vivas playing at 6 today. Bounce off a kind to David Hume, and Vivas has recovered it. And David Large couldn't quite hang on the wing as the standoff decided to miss out Hunt. David Large, who's made just 1 substitute appearance for the team this season, starting for the first time, strong running right winger. St Helens through and through, used to support the team from the terraces in his boyhood days. Saints penalised at the scrum. Referee today is David Asquith from York, who yesterday had charge of that marvellous win for Runcorn over Keighley. Many congratulations to the Runcorn lads if they're looking in. So Widnes set at base camp. And here's their young debutant Paul Davidson, 19 years of age. Kurt Sorensen. You can see the bandage on his right hand. That's where the broken bone is. David Hume making a half break. Manhandled by Neal. Mackenzie. Devereaux. Vivas tackle. McCurry. Davis. 5th tackle. Andy Currier. O'Fire couldn't quite gather it. Neither could Paul Bishop. The ball knocked forward on the 6th tackle, handover and St Helens possession. Paul Bishop, who of course played at Wembley last season for Warrington. And he's got a bit of a problem in his left hand. Roy Haggerty isn't a more popular St Helens player. Great servant to the club these last 12 years, although he's currently on the transfer list and seeking pastures new. Alan Hunt. Jonathan Neal. From that conveyor belt of Cumbrian talent. Bishop back in the action. Steve Wynn, a teenage Widnes fullback. Tackle was a wee bit high from Vivas. Got a couple of tries on his debut at Featherstone last Sunday, where he played on the wing, but he is a fullback. And Peter Tunks will have felt that one.
Yes, well, it's certainly a good initiation into a game, and looking by the standard in the first couple of minutes here today, there's no love lost between these two sides.
David Hume. Davidson. That was a cracking tackle by Paul Forber. He's signalled his return, hasn't he?
Well, that was certainly a blockbusting tackle. I think that big Stuart Evans had more than his fair share in that tackle as well.
And certainly Evans and Forber and Haggerty are just going to provide a fresh breath of life for this emerging St Helens pack. All three of them senior players who've been suffering with injuries recently. And all three of them will have Wembley on their minds. Kurt Sorensen. David Hume. Wouldn't quite fall for Darren Wright. Stuart Evans, his first game for 5 weeks. Jonathan Neal. It's quite an inspired choice by Mike McLennan on Saturday, just playing Neal for those first 20 grinding minutes.
I thought that it was a great tactic. Jonathan Neal relished the challenge, and I think that went a long way towards taming the Widnes pack.
Joe Grimmer a little bit high that time on Paul Forber. David Hume in the midst of it again. Grimmer's the man in trouble, though.
There's a lot of frustration starting to creep over the Widnes players in the last 10 or 15 minutes of Saturday's clash, and I'm sure that players like Grimmer and Sorensen will be keen to reverse the fortunes of Saturday's game, and they'll be letting the St Helens forwards know all about it.
Phil Vivas has failed to reach touch by some distance. He sliced that hopelessly. Mostly Coloto collecting. So much more still for Doug Lawton to chase this season. Paul Davison. And again a high tackle, this time from Les Quirk. Not too much textbook tackling for schoolboys to admire, but it's not a schoolboy's game.
I think that Paul Davison has just checked his jumper for a bullseye at the moment. He seems to be singled out for quite a bit of attention in this first period.
Jonathan Davis, captain today. A little surprise there. David Hume. Wasn't on the same wavelength as Coloto there. And as Phil Larder was saying before the match, there's a great responsibility on Hume to organise Widnes. They lacked for that on Saturday. Stuart Evans. Bishop. Cooper, knocked down by Darren Wright. Cooper tried to keep it alive, but he might have provided a present here for Jonathan Davis. Ball just running away from him now as he held back there by Hunt. Referee says no.
That was poor work by Bishop on that occasion. He got the ball out to Cooper. Cooper just unseeing, just flicked it out the back, hoping there'd be a player there, and it almost cost him a try.
It's a drop out from beneath the post. Ball must have been knocked over the line by St Helens player. I'm not sure that Davis wasn't being held there by Alan Hunt. No complaints. Beavers kicking into the breeze, collected by Davidson. 10 minutes gone, no score. Widnes in possession with Joe Grimmer. Davis. David Hume. Another cracking tackle by Forber. Coloto. Groves going low, hopefully. Courier. I don't think that's the pass that Jonathan Devereux had in mind there. He's unconventional, to say the least, Andy Courier. Beavers. Shane Cooper. Super Cooper, as they know him here, Knowsley Road. Jonathan Neal. Beavers. Bailey. Forber. Groves. 5 tackles, and Helen's rather bunts at the moment. Bishop will kick. Steve Wynn. Well, that's a great burst by the youngster. Important tackle in the middle of the field by Phil Vivers. John Devereux popping up at left centre. David Hume. Coloto. Davis. Joe Grimmer. Davis has seen more of the ball in the opening 12 minutes than he saw in 80 on Saturday. Here he is again. Steve Wynn. On by Steve McCurry. Great step, good try. Steve McCurry's first ever try for Widnes. And the championship leaders take the lead after just 13 minutes. 17 years of age, Steve McCurry, who made his debut, you may recall, on Rugby League Live a year ago against Wigan. And a young Cumbrian full of promise.
Here we have Jonathan Davis with nothing on here. He just gives the ball back to Wynn, the fullback, and he does a great job here. He gets back across the field, beats 4 or 5 Saints defenders, opens the hole for McCurry. He just goes through. He has the fullback to beat, a nice little left foot step, and he's got enough momentum to take him over near the post.
We hear a lot about Widnes' big signings, but they are great spotters of young talent too, both local talent and, it seems at the moment, a lot coming from up on the Cumbrian coast. And Wynn from the Lee East club setting up the try for young Steve McCurry, a 19-year-old to a 17-year-old, improved by Jonathan Davis, and Widnes, with 13 minutes gone, lead by 6 points to 0.
It's certainly been an interesting game so far for the young fullback Steve Wynn. He's had the ball 3 times. On 2 of those occasions he's made clean breaks into the St Helens defence, and on the 3rd time he nearly got decapitated. So he's certainly having a busy afternoon.
He's a lovely free runner, isn't he, Peter? So we see him pick up the ball here, the number 1. Look at him stretch his legs, lovely balance.
He's very, very great speed off the mark. He left a number of established rugby league players with big reputations in his wake there, and McCurry did very well to spot the gap and run into it.
Good finishing by Steve McCurry, opening his rugby league try-scoring account. And Widnes 6 points to the good. Peloto went a long, long way there, but with the help of a loose arm, and he's been penalised, and St Helens have a penalty in a promising position.
The referee has said that that was a very unconventional type of fend used by Peloto there. It was more like a backhand that he tried to deliver to two of the St Helens tacklers' faces, and he's deemed it fit to give them a penalty here.
Now, in the absence of Paul Loughlin, it looks like Paul Bishop will start with the place-kicking responsibilities. Just waiting for the sand to be brought on by one of the two substitutes, Paul Jones.
Although he's not the recognised first-string kicker for St Helens, in a couple of seasons that he played with Cronulla Sutherland in Sydney, Paul Bishop rattled over quite a number of goals there, both around the corner and in the conventional straight-on style.
You may remember that the first two St Helens tries on Saturday resulted from Paul Bishop kicking in open play. Devil of a bomb which Stuart Spruce couldn't quite get across to for the second, and a lovely little kick through which sent George Mann charging through to set up the first for Jonathan Griffiths. He's not made the most of that opportunity. And Widnes retained their 6 points to 0 lead. Bishop quickly involved again. David Tanner. Starting only his second game of the season. Former Fylde Rugby Union player. Evans. Plenty of attention from Kurt Sorensen. The referee had a very good view and decided it was all fair and above board. It was certainly above board. Bishop, Cooper, Tanner. Fifth tackle. Bishop again. Devereux controlling the ball soccer style. Win. Tackle that time by Jonathan Neal. Kurt Sorensen. Not noted for his sidestep, Kurt.
No, Kurt's always better when he gets back and runs onto the ball with a lot of that strength and power he's renowned for, but it's a bit of a common trait in these last 10 minutes that the Widnes forwards have been standing very flat-footed when they receive the ball.
Andy Kerrier nailed. Jonathan Devereux, always prepared to take on some of the forwards' work. And certainly big enough and strong enough, although he might regret his decision this time. Certainly felt that tackle. Davis will kick on the sixth tackle, charged down by Groves. Bounce rather fortunately into the arms of Sorensen, and here goes Martin O'Fire. Nothing for him on the outside, and nothing for him on the inside. I looked a little adjacent.
The Widnes forwards look at 6s and 7s at the moment. Although their backs are throwing the ball around and making ground, their forwards don't give them the platform that they need to work on.
Davis. That's a clever kick. David Hume as ever in support. Everybody overran it bar Paul Bishop though. Cooper. Neal. Roy Haggerty. That's typical St Helens. Beavers. Tanner. Good tackle by Joe Grimmer, fifth of the drive. Bishop to kick. Has thumped it against Andy Kerrier.
It's a good tactic there. He rebounded the ball off one of the Widnes players, and it means that St Helens will get the head and the feet, so they should have another good 6 tackles to attack in the Widnes 25.
Roy Haggerty out of the scrum. That's a tactic that St Helens have used very successfully with George Mann this season. It's an old Paul Surinan idea. Widnes called offside.
Well, Phil Beaver's doing the right thing here. Whenever you've got a penalty this early in a game, which is a gift 2 points, you've got to take it. There was almost a rush of blood there, and he was tempted to tap and play on, but I think they've done the right thing.
Bishop bang in front of the post this time.
I think even John Harrison could headbutt it over from here.
Yes, the big substitute has just brought the bucket on there for Paul Bishop. And he is big, 6'8", John Harrison. We may see him later. There he is, just running off into the foreground. He was the player who, you may recall, headed the ball forward in a match against Sheffield Eagles earlier this season for George Mann to score a try. Bishop more conventionally picking up 2 points to narrow the gap. His first success of the afternoon is Helen's first. And the Widnes lead is cut to 4 points. 6-2 Widnes lead. A luxury they never had on Saturday. But the circumstances very, very different now. David Large could do about that. And it means that St Helens must now drop the ball out from beneath their post and hand possession back to Widnes deep inside their own territory. Awkward bounce for Large. Safely taken by Wynn. Paul Davidson. He's the only one of the Widnes front 5 that was born in the Northern Hemisphere, Paul Davidson. We've got 3 New Zealanders and Aussie in there, and of course the senior final are no longer eligible since their departure from the Challenge Cup. Again, Paul Forber in a spot of bother.
There's been quite a few swinging arms in a few of these tackles out here today. A couple of the Kiwis for Widnes, and in particular Forber and Stuart Evans have been very prominent in these forward clashes.
And Davis will go for goal. Missed a couple of penalties early on in the semi-final, which might just have set the tone for a better Widnes performance. He was a bit unfortunate with one of them, came off the post. This is what Forber was penalised for. Here he comes with a white headband. Oh, yes. Get the wax out of his ear. Straight through from Jonathan Davis. His remarkable points tally continues to rise. 272 points this season for Davis, chasing the Widnes record for a season of 316, set by Mick Burke back in 1979. And Davis now is just 44 short of that. 8 points to 2, Widnes lead. The ball back in the hands of their accomplished young fullback Steve Wynn. Been a man of the match regular in the A-team at fullback this season. Coloto. On fire. What a good tackle. Met head on there by the fullback David Tanner. Jonathan Davis. Kurt Sorensen. Andy Currier. Sorensen again. Devereaux. Fending off two challenges. Needs somebody at his shoulder. Another good tackle by the fullback. We're just starting to break a few tackles now. Coloto set the mood a moment or so ago. Back in possession. Currier. Little kick meant just to push Saints back into the corner. Doug Lawton has been pushing for a test recall for Andy Currier. He's only played once for Great Britain against New Zealand at Old Trafford in 1989. His kick leading to this scrum, for which Saints will have head and ball. Make the most of it. Phil Vivers. Paul Groves. Here's Jonathan Neal again. Paul Forber. That's such a busy stride. Dropped the ball, but Haggerty managed to recover. Forber's off again. Hungry for work. It's the first time he's played in the first team since Boxing Day. Good kick by Bishop. The fire preventing it from crossing the line. Surrounded by red and white. Joe Grimmer. Well caught by Devereaux. Phil McKenzie. Andy Currier. Now he's broken the challenge of Bishop. He's got support from Davis inside. He's kicked it towards David Hume. Shane Cooper's covering back there too. And Hume is the favourite, but the ball just took a last lively bounce and sprung away from the pursuing Widnes players. And Saints got away with it. But a good break by Andy Currier and a clever kick, just marginally overhit.
That was bad work really from Andy Currier. If you looked on the inside, he had with Jonathan Davies unmarked. All he had to do was look to his inside, float a pass back to Jonathan, and no one would have got within 10 yards of him.
Phil Larder was talking before the game about a greater involvement from Jonathan Davis, and already we've seen that this afternoon, Phil.
That's right, but I still feel that Widnes have got to establish the platform up front. The forwards aren't dominating in the way that Doug Lawton will be looking for them to do.
Saints breaking clear in the middle of the field. For once their passing rhythm breaking down. Widnes back in possession with their try scorer Steve McCurry. David Hume. We're live at Knowsley Road for the St Helens Widnes rematch, and Widnes with the championship on their minds, leading by 8 points to 2, and in possession with John Devereaux, looking to get on the outside of Les Quirk. Oh, the bold and forceful run by the Welshman. McKenzie, Sorensen, that's a loose one. Davis under pressure from Haggerty, couldn't collect. Snapped up by Stuart Evans. Alan Hunt. Held up by Wynn. David Large making valuable ground. Jonathan Neal going on. Those two are playing with us on their own at the moment. Bishop, Vivers, Evans. Stolen from him though by Joe Grimmer.
Well, this game has been riddled by mistakes in the first 30 minutes, but this Widnes pack of forwards, both in a defence and attack today. They're just not putting their stamp on the game. St Helens, even though they're trailing, have had no trouble in finding gaps right through the centre of the ruck. And when in possession of the ball, all the Widnes forwards seemed intent on is passing it sideways for their backs to run round them, and it's just not good enough.
Tanner. It is a Widnes pack without the likes of Paul Hume and Richie Ayres and Les Holiday, and now, of course, Asini Faimalo too. Cooper, Vivas, Bailey. Neil, right without the ball. Gathered by Kurt Sorensen. Andy Currier. Nobody really wanted that. Paul Davison picked it up almost as an afterthought. Into the last 10 minutes of this first half. 8-2 Widnes lead. John Devereux. Saints have Paul Jones ready to come on. And they have a problem with Les Quert, the left winger. Get no apparent direction about Widnes there. Phil Mackenzie seemed a little uncertain as to who was going to receive the pass. On the sixth tackle, he goes back to Jonathan Davis. David Large. Mackenzie and O'Fire with the tackle. Roy Haggerty. Forber. Neil. Just coughed it up for Joe Grimmer. McCurry appeals for a forward pass. Wynn playing to the whistle. Davidson. And again a handling error, this time by Paul Davidson, bringing the Widnes attack to a grinding halt and handing possession back to St Helens. Les Quirk still looking for work, even though he'll shortly be leaving us. He's clearly not fully fit now. There's Joe Grimmer that time, very, very high on Jonathan Neal. Oh, and the punches are flying off the ball. It's a match that's always been simmering, and it's coming to the boil.
Well, that was a really, really poor attempted tackle, or whatever it was, from Joe Grimmer. He should know a lot better than that. He just went at his head with both his hands. He had made no attempt to connect with the shoulder, and if he doesn't get 10 minutes here, I'll be very surprised.
Good job he didn't make full-blooded contact then.
I noticed that he was involved in a few bad-tempered exchanges towards the end of the game. No doubt they were very disappointed on Saturday, but there's no place for that sort of tackling in rugby league, and all he's doing is a disservice to himself and Widnes.
Some angry men out there. And they're all big enough to do some damage too. I think David Asquith is trying to referee the game with an understanding of the background to it. Two great boxing champions slugged out a title fight. They wouldn't be expected to go in for the rematch 48 hours later. But that's what these lads are doing, and expected to keep their frustrations under wraps. Grimmer's a little bit fortunate.
I think in a situation like this, a referee, really, the sin bin is put there to diffuse potentially volatile situations such as this. Now, if you put one or two of these players in the sin bin, I think it might diffuse the situation, but leaving him on here, it could lead to just more bad feeling.
Well, Grimmer makes the next tackle. On Jonathan Neal. Here's Roy Haggerty. got Les Quirk outside of him. Well, Kerry and Devereux quickly on the prostrate figure of Tanner then. Well held by Groves. Paul Forber. Went under Sorensen that time. Tackles aren't getting any lower. Forber just having a look round and making a note of who it might have been. Haggerty had the semblance of an overlap there, but it's sometimes a little bit misleading when O'Fire's involved because he can recover so quickly. Cooper's little kick through, well seen though by Steve Wynn. Good full-back play. He's ahead of the game then. O'Fire. Oh, good tackle by Forber. And that's a drop out from beneath the post. Now that was a good tackle.
Well, Forber was incensed from that attempted high tackle from Sorensen not less than 30 seconds ago. But I think what we've got here is we've got Widnes, who I think are trying to bully St Helens out of this game. But I think to their amazement, they're finding that St Helens aren't going to be pushed around, and they're coming back and playing some good rugby.
Shane Cooper. Roy Haggerty. We're inside the last 5 minutes of this first half. 8 points to 2, Widnes lead. The Saints have certainly had the better of the last 5 or 10 minutes. It's as punishing a game as I've seen this season. Stuart Evans. Bishop. Wrestled to the ground by Kurt Sorensen. This will give you some idea of how intense it is there in the trenches. This is the view that the Widnes fullback has of it all. Forber. Long for Hunt. Just tried to shuffle it onto his winger. Scrum down. The Widnes have been penalised. Phil McKenzie for arguing. Saints have a penalty. Really, David Asquith's going to have to stamp down on all this. Jonathan Davis is getting the lecture. And it's sin bin time. The yellow card's been shown, and it's Kurt Sorensen who's on his way.
Well, that was only a matter of time, I think, Clive. We've had a number of players that have been trying to play above the rules, and I think that the referees had no option but to put at least one of them in the sin bin to try and calm things down.
And just when you don't want to be down to 12 men, Widnes defending their goal line. Try line. Saints working on a little move, looking to get Bishop in beneath the tackles, and in he is. Tunneled his way in for the try. All the big men were lined up before and behind, and the smallest man on the field, Paul Bishop, just dug a tunnel under the cover to score the try for St Helens.
We can see here it's just a very, very simple tap move. All it was, the Widnes players didn't know what was going to go on. They didn't know if there was going to be a wall to the left-hand side there, but all it was, he played the ball back. Groves just heeled it back to Bishop, who just looked as if he was going to pass. Avoided a very nasty trip by Joe Grimmer as well. So you can see there's still a lot of feeling in this game, even though half-time's rapidly approaching.
Paul Bishop's 4th try for St Helens since his move from Warrington in November. And a romantic move in many ways, because it was here that Nosey Rowe that his father Tommy made his great reputation. And he's only 23, Paul Bishop. He seems to have played 2 careers of rugby league already, here and down under. Maybe he's found a home at last. It's a hanger which isn't going to quite get there. But Bishop's try has brought Saints back to within 2 points as we approach the half-time hooter.
Only a minute to go till half-time, Clive, and it's quite a strong breeze at Widnes' backs here. And I think going in at 6-8, I don't think that St Helens will be all that worried about the second half.
The Widnes paying the ultimate prize for the dismissal to the sin bin of Kurt Sorensen. Since when last we saw Widnes on Rugby League Live, losing to Wigan at Norton Park in January, they've won 8 of their 9 championship matches. They've been averaging 6 tries a match in the process. And they'd be in control of their own title destiny, but for that one unaccountable blot on their record, the defeat at home to Sheffield last month. And they may just have lost control of this match with Paul Bishop's try on the stroke of half-time, which has brought St Helens back to within 2 points. Steve McCurry giving Widnes the early lead, but they failed to capitalise on the advantage of the breeze at their backs. And at half-time, in a match which has been full of ill feeling and full of errors too, but it's still full of importance, Widnes lead by 8 points to 6. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, I've been here for 5 years now, and I've worked my way up to mortgage advisor. I started off in the machine room, like most people, really. Then I took time off to have Daniel. I brought him in once. Never again. Well, this being a new town, we get a lot of young couples, kiddies on the way. So I know how it is. It's my job to make sure they get the right mortgage, which means one they can afford. Because you don't want to be struggling in the first years. The kids will give you enough of that.
TV Quick, for your week's TV, just the way you like it, still only 10p.
A pure white double wardrobe, 4-drawer white chest, and bedside cabinet, all 3 for under £70. It's got to be Texas this Easter.